the drill, let's dive straight into being the tallest you can be. Let's interlace the fingers and stretch. Take a nice pendulum movement side to side. Allow the hips to sway too, so we start to wake up those inner thigh muscles. Nice deep breaths in and out of the nose. Now we're going to start with circles as if the nose is drawing a circle on the wall in front of you. Add on the arms, and we'll gradually add on more body movement. Look at the hole in my cardigan, let me take that one. Okay, embarrassing. Okay, so standing tall, let's have the feet wider than hip distance apart so we feel stable. The nose, so we're brushing across the chest and drawing a big circle with the nose. Let the arms hang, shoulders soft and heavy. All the way around, you take that circle as large as you feel comfortable to. Now we'll keep going in this same direction and we're going to add on the arms. So if you try and mirror me, so that we take the arms, the head over to the right, lift up, look up and melt down to the left. So initially the torso is staying pretty upright so that we get an upper back bend, a thoracic spine extension here. So not rounding down through the spine yet. As we get bigger, we'll get that stretch, the flexion moving down the spine. So I'm going to more around the shoulder blades now. Only take a small back bend with your glutes squeezed on so we're not straining the lower back. As I said, it's more that thoracic spine around the shoulder blades, heart space up to the ceiling where we want to find nice opening. Keep going, and we can start to soften the knees if that feels very tight on the backs of the legs. No forcing, and just carving a nice big movement through the air, occupying space, and starting to add on that open twist here. And then as we go over to your left, a closed twist. That's why we need to keep going in the same direction, but when we change direction, there'll be that change in emphasis. I'd like you to start to make these last two circles the biggest you can go. So getting into a full twist, full forward flexion, and a big movement all the way. Last time in this direction, then we'll change direction. So nice stretch, release all through the body. And then let's take it the other way. So I don't get confused, I'm going to have to go straight away into the nose, circling, nice soft jaw. And we take the arms across to the left, up, back and down. And know yourself, notice if you're rounding that lower back. Please don't strain your lower back. We can avoid that by squeezing the glutes to keep that core engagement. And think about the heart lifting up to the ceiling only, so the upper back to the ceiling. And last couple of rounds, taking it a little bit deeper, so adding that twist from that closed twist, open twist, all the way opening. And the next is your last. Fabulous. Toe and heel the feet in and just take a few kickbacks. That was quite a deep stretch for the backs of the legs. So just as a counter to that lengthening of the hamstrings and at the back of the knee. Let's take a skater position with the legs wide, and we bend one knee so the knees trapping over the toes, inner thigh stretch, straighten and across the other side. Let's press the hands into prayer, so we're toning the arms as well. Press the hands together, fingertips, squeeze the glutes and glide side to side. Breathe in, tall center, breathe out, melting. Shoulders back and down. Keep some pressure between the hands. This will help strengthen the back, working the posture, nice open chest. Squeezing the glutes as you come up to standing. I always like to use this kind of symmetrical position of the body to reset, gather up your energy and lengthen through the spine. Let's take last two each side. Just warming up the hips, and then let's change the emphasis of the stretch. You can, we're lifting the toes of one leg, straight leg, lower down. So think about Cossack dancing. Just changing the emphasis of that stretch. We've got one knee bent, one straight. Those who have been coming a while probably know we're moving on to extended side to side angle. So the legs will stay wide. And let's turn the right toes out to the right. Bend the knee and reach overhead. We'll pause here to reach into the fingertips and feel the stretch right down to the little toe. I'm mirroring you, so this is your left leg. Reaching and stretching down the left side of the body, squeeze the glutes, and we'll take a moment here before we go to the other side to think if I were against a wall, would the back of my head be in line with the back of my pelvis? Very typical to drop the chest forward. So maybe come out, back off, out of the stretch and keep that lovely alignment. Nice deep breath in, we take it over to the other side. Drop the arm in front of the body. Right toes point forwards, left toes out to the left. Bend the knee, not further than the ankle. Small bend initially, and then let's open the chest. Shoulders working towards them being stacked, but it's a stretch from the fingertips into the little toe. Feeling space, breathe into these right ribs, the lungs. And then feeling that stretch, the squeezing the glutes, thinking about our nice alignment at the back of the head, so chin's tucked into the chest. Inner thigh stretch, you can deepen that with the help of the forearm, and then arm in front of the body. Now, slow control, we're going side to side. So, left toes forward, right toes to the right, reach up and over, squeezing the glutes, and taking that side bend, inner thigh stretch, active through the legs, no collapsing and just hanging on the fascia. We're holding the body so that we can follow all the way through to center, changing the legs. This is important so the knees are tracking over the toes and we're not straining the knees. Stretching and making a continuous movement now. So that we don't get confused when we change to the next, let's just start to think about this as being like front crawl. You see the arm comes in front of the body. We're diving through the wall to nice open chest, and then the arm comes in front of the body. This is because we'll be reversing, so it's good to have a picture and visualize the direction of the arm. Because for me, anyway, it feels a little bit counterintuitive doing it the other way, but it's good to challenge the brain. Let's end it there, and then we're reversing. So if that was forward stroke, we're now thinking about back stroke. So let's start with the left toes out to the left, and like you're diving through, carving a line past the toes to the side wall, opening the chest, and coming up to standing, changing the leg. Remember, we're diving through as if you're reaching beyond the toes to the side wall, then that opening of the chest. So we're coming at that extended side angle from a different way. Carving through, opening the chest like a big yawn, and it's fine to yawn. Nice deep stretch, deep opening, feel open, there's space in the body. Last time, each side. And we're remembering to change the angle of the feet, aren't we? Each time, so the knee, when it bends, you can check, you can still see the toes out below the knee. Brilliant. Toe and heel the feet in. Let's stretch out the hamstrings in this nice, easy hamstring stretch. Plant the heel of the foot and give a squeeze. Yeah, the belly of the muscle here and into the calf muscle. And we're just feeling a gentle stretch, no forcing. Take a recovery breath here before we go on to the other leg. Slowly lower the foot, let's switch sides. Your other foot, plant the ball of the foot with the toes lifted and start to send the hips back and lower until you get to a nice comfortable stretch of the back of the legs. Recovery breath here. Very good to squeeze the muscles, just helping to get past that stretch reflex. Softening, lengthening, just allowing all the muscle fibers to smooth apart. There's the quad stretch. Let's start with the right foot into the right hand. Find a wall or use a chair, foot into the bottom. Now squeeze the glutes so that instead of the bottom sticking out and pulling the knee back, see if you can tilt the pelvis so the core's switched on, knees quite close together. And if you have your balance, I like to hold the ball of the foot with both hands and almost pull the toes up to the ceiling, sending the knee down to the floor, because then we can get not only the quad stretch, but we're ironing out that crease at the top of the leg. Breathe deeply, and then we'll take it to the other leg. So excessive periods of sitting down, really good to stretch out the front of the thigh. Other leg, catch hold, shoulders back and down. Remember that slight pelvic tilt. So people going, comes up to the ribs. Knees quite close together, and you just find your way into a stretch down the front of the thigh and ironing out the crease at the top of the leg. Recovery breath. Fabulous. We're ready to move on. We're going to take a nice Pilates plumb line position. So that means the feet hip distance apart, toes pointing forwards. Find some length in the tailbone here. Draw the front ribs together, shoulders back and down, chin into the neck. Long as you can be. We're taking the arms up either side of the body, palms facing each other, shoulders back and down. As we get to shoulder height, flip the palms up. And I'm getting you to lift your heels as well. So feel like you've got some pressure, you're pressing up, some weights on your hands, dictionaries weighing the hands down, so working against some pressure. And we're squeezing that lifted position so you feel like into your calf muscles. Now press the balls of the feet down and together, inner thighs of steel. And then float the arms down, we flip the palms down. See if we can go with the breath. Breathe in, squeeze the glutes, neutral pelvis. Shoulder height, flip the palms up. Now think about your center of gravity. Now you know the movement, we're just flowing up and down with the breath. See if you can take your gaze out to the horizon. That helps us keep a nice line in the neck. And throughout, as you lift up, in that same vertical way, a glass elevator lifts directly up. Feel your center of gravity. It'll help with your balance. Also looking at something that's not moving. I'm really keen you work on the balls of the feet down and together, because the stabilizing muscles that we need to support the knees and the ankles, we've very much underused those inner thigh muscles. So let's tone, get some strength there. The next one we're adding on a squat. So let's come up. Your glutes are strong. You've got that pelvic tilt, your TVAs, the corset muscles pulled in, shoulders back and down, that center of gravity, longest possible from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head. Now, as we lower the heels, let's keep the arms slightly in front of the body and sitting as if in a low chair. So try not to get the knees coming over the toes. Find where you can feel a challenge, almost like you're going to tip back. Please don't take it too far. As soon as we're in that position, we should be able to see our toes. Take your knees too far forwards, you're straining the knees. So let's make those powerful glutes work. And then take a moment to look a good few feet at the floor in front of you. So we've got a nice long neck, no creases at the back of the neck. And we're just taking a moment to lengthen from the base of the spine up into those fingertips. Now press into the floor, squeeze the glutes, and come up. Again, lift up through the heels, the arms, flip the palms, squeeze the glutes, rising up, inner thighs, pelvic tilt, center of gravity, long from the base of the spine, up through the crown of the head, shoulders are down, and we come straight into the chair squat. So knees bend, keep the arms in front of the body, and sitting low. Try and knit these front ribs together, tummy bottom back to the spine. Now, add on a forward fold. Start to straighten up the legs. Hands come to the floor. Take a moment in ragdoll fold here. And when you're ready, take the knees slightly off lock. Squeeze the glutes. Either hands on the hips for a slightly easy modification. Otherwise, keep the arms overhead. Press into the floor, come up with a flat, strong back, all the way up, and then swan dive the arms down. Off we go again. Breathe in, float the arms up, flip the palms. That vertical line, lift up, length, inner thighs, chair, breathe out. Start to pull those abdominal muscles in. Find length in the spine. We won't hold it, just enough to feel that length, active right to the fingertips. Hinge forwards from the hips into a forward fold. Engage your core and start to lengthen up Quite a robotic, strong, engaged hold throughout the body, and float the arms down. Last time. Breathe in, squeeze the glutes, shoulders back and down, rising up. This external rotation of the shoulders past shoulder height just gives a little bit of space to the shoulder joint. Last chair, you'll be pleased to hear. Let's come down, find that long line. Stretch into the fingers, shoulders back and down. Active fingers. Now hinge from the hips into your last forward fold. Shake out the head. Have a little sway around the feet for this last one. Then take the knees off lock and we'll take a roll up through the spine. Head last to come up. Rebuild the spine, building blocks. One vertebrae at a time. And at the top, roll the shoulders back and down. Last thing we're going to do standing is a triangle. So let's take the legs wide. And let's start by turning the left toes out towards the left wall. So we're externally rotating this left leg. Come onto the right ball of the foot and send your heel a little bit away. See how that turned the hip down and forwards a little bit. Arms by your side, and let's just work into the waist. So yesterday I was also talking about not going to your edge, not going as far as you can, and just finding a different kind of intensity, endurance, strength in moving in and out of your asanas postures. Here I want you to go right to the end, feel the tug on the waist, stretching side to side. So it's as though the rib cage is literally gliding on a table side to side. The next time we come over to the left, we'll stay there. Flip your left palm to face forwards, and we're hinging. Now, really important that we don't overextend this knee. So take it slightly off lock if this is a little bit tight. And I'm very much a fan of this backing off. I could just hang here and go to the fullest side bend here, but much stronger if I keep a long line in the chest. I'm gripping the floor with the feet. And all of a sudden, we're actually using the whole body to come into this triangle. It's very easy to look at your photos on Instagram and see these, fingers down to the ankle, and we've all got different proportions. See where you can hold the body in a strong, it's a very strenuous side bend, but where the shoulders are down, active into the fingertips, your glutes are strong, you're gripping the floor with the legs, so we're not overstraining one particular muscle group. Breathe deeply, we're not here for long. See if you can engage more muscles in the body so we're not overstraining any part. If you feel any discomfort in the back of the knee, remember, take it off lock. Soften through that knee. Amazing. Lower the hand. We'll change the legs. If you feel you need to jump the legs together and bend out in between, please do. Other side, we're only doing it once. Turn the right toes out to the right. And remember, come onto the ball of the foot to lift and guide the heel away, lowering the hip. So this active right, the femur, the thigh bone, tuck right into the joint. Let's take that side to side movement to warm up the waist, ready for that deep side bend. And maybe a recovery breath here. All right, we're flipping the right palm to face forward. Protect this knee, so grip the floor, really press into the ball of the foot. Sometimes that's enough just to avoid hyperextending the knee. Gliding to the side without having a fixed idea of how far you're going to go. I'd like you to come to a point where you could easily glide out of it. If we go too far, then we end up jerking and moving less mindfully, more likely to hurt ourselves. So come into an expression of the posture which you feel strong and secure in, where the feet are gripping the floor, they're toning strong, supporting the body, the glutes are squeezed, your core's engaged. We can draw the shoulders down, the lats engaged. Active through to the fingers, postural muscles are wide open across the chest. And this hip slightly angling down. And this is how we then start to get some work into the muscles in the back of the hip there. Grip the floor and try to take your awareness into the breath. It can start to get a little bit jagged. So just see if we can slow it down. Maybe back off out of the posture a little bit. Last breath. Soften your knee And toe and heel the feet in. You'll be pleased to hear we're down to the mat. Cat-cow we'll start off with. So round down through the spine, and we'll all meet on all fours. I hope you've all got some padding under your knees if you're not on a carpet or a mat. So from on all fours, shoulders directly over the wrists, knees and ankles are hip distance apart, so a good fist or 2 fist gap between the knees. Now, if you've got any niggles in the shoulders, good to turn the fingers out slightly, just to externally rotate the shoulders. Cat-cow. Breathe in and look up. Here the hands are pressing down and as if towards your knees. We're stretching from the pubic bone up to the hairline, sitting the bottom out. Breathing out, chin to chest, round the back. You're pressing down and forwards through the hands, chin pressing into the chest. Rounding, separating the shoulder blades, press the ankles and tops of the feet into the floor. One more round and then we'll be threading through an arm clown opening. Deep breath in here, just working through the natural curves of the spine, but mindfully without overloading the spine. Okay, so for our thread through, we'll start with the left hand. Remember this right hand can slightly turn down. Make sure your shoulder's comfortable here. With your left hand, we're threading through between your wrist and your knee. And you're coming to more or less put your cheek on the floor. When the back of that left arm is on the floor, you're slightly putting away from it. So finding space in that left shoulder, no forcing. So this draws the shoulder blade away from the spine. Now as we press back up to all threes, not fours, the same arm, active arm opens like a clam opening. So here's your counter movement and the shoulder blade moves back towards the right shoulder blade. So let's work with the breath. As you breathe out, gliding through into the thread through twist. No forcing. Breathe in to change. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Clam opens, chest wide open. And breathe out, thread through. Once more on this side, and then we'll be switching sides. So now you know what you're doing for this last one. Have a go at closing your eyes, and then actually feel that movement of the shoulder blade and a nice long neck. Twist for the spine. And the last time we thread through, just pausing for a moment. And then slowly coming up. Set up for the other side. Left hand to the floor. Right hand's threading through. So it's your right cheek which is coming towards the floor. Just feel your way into that twist. And then just find how much you want to tug back a little bit from the extended arm to find space in the shoulder joint. And then coming up. Take a nice deep breath in, clam opens, chest opens, twist the spine, open as far as you feel comfortable going, and the breath out into the thread through. So we already know what to expect. We can go into closed eyes. Let's calm down the nervous system, just working with the breath. By virtue of adding on quite big arm movements, we'll have to slow the breath down, which is just so healing and restorative for the body. Last one, and then we're coming onto our backs. We're doing leg raises. So for your last thread through, just pause a moment. And then let's come up and sit on your bottoms, legs out in front of you. So for leg raises, very strong on the core. So let's first of all make sure our lower spine's protected. So the knees bent, take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, imprint the spine, close the front ribs, and we're going to keep them there. Tendency is for the shoulders to lift with core exercises. See if we can keep the chest wide open. For the first, at least hold the outside of your mat if you have one and extend the legs. We keep the pelvic chin tucked into the chest, and let's see if we can rise up through both legs. Now, if this just isn't happening today, don't worry about it. We'll go to one leg at a time. So wherever you are, let's try to draw the tummy button back to the spine and then keep it the same distance from the mat. So we need to work really slowly with control so that all those stabilizing muscles of the core, and that all the muscles needed to maintain a neutral spine stay switched on. Shaking's fine, but no pain. So definitely any niggles in the lower back first. You can bend the legs, and we can go to one leg at a time. Whether you're one leg or two legs, see if you can slow the breath down. And a good way to focus the mind is think about how many inches from the floor is my navel? Can I keep it the same distance even as I move these long levers? Another checkpoint is keeping the front ribs knitted together. Sometimes the abs can kind of bulge out. We want to work on the drawing in muscles of the core. Last two, whether it's single leg, lifts, or one set if it's two legs. Briefly hug the knees into the chest, and then we're going to do a crisscross with the legs. So back to the inner thighs. So here the legs, we'll try and get them up to the ceiling, point the toes, and we're crisscrossing. If I come at an angle, we'll crisscross one ankle over the other. Now, keeping the spine imprinted, you're going to find where your edge is, where you can maintain a neutral spine, because we start to lower the legs, and as soon as there's any danger of arching the spine, that's low enough, you stop, and you take a crisscross overhead again. The knees can be bent, so try it. Don't worry if the knees, if you can't straighten the legs. This action, you can feel, press your hands into the inner thighs, you'll feel the inner thighs switch on and off with this crisscrossing action. Doesn't matter if the legs aren't straight. So finding your level and challenging yourself as much as you want to. Maybe you crisscross all the way to the floor. I actually don't do that very well all the way to the floor, so I'll be keeping it higher, but you find your edge, your challenge. Try and keep the shoulders down. The abs closed in, tuck the tummy button up to the spine, back to the spine, in, tuck it under the ribs, squeeze pelvic floor, use anything available to you for the last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've done it. Knees into the chest, have a well-deserved rock on the spine. Before we stretch out the hands, let's just give them a little bit extra work. A hamstring bridge, so feet wide away from your bottom, knees bent, feet flat to the floor. Squeeze the glutes and peel the lower spine off, and you'll see right away, because this big gap between the hips and the heels, we're loading right into those hamstrings. Squeeze the glutes, we won't lift as high because the feet are far away. Have a squeeze, feel the belly of the hamstring muscles clench. We do so much in yoga of stretching. Now let's just consolidate and draw those muscles in, and then lower down through the spine, back to the mat. Extend the right leg up to the ceiling. Let's point the toes and flex, and then just feeling around the belly of the muscle at the back of the leg. Give it a good old squeeze. And take a recovery breath here. If you're quite flexible, the lower leg might straighten, otherwise feel free to keep it bent. Breathe gently. Maybe sigh with relief, knowing it's nearly over. You've done well. It's quite intense. Gently take the knee into the chest. And let's switch legs. Hamstring stretch on your other leg. Point and flex. Help the muscles relax. And a good squeeze. So we're giving this a release stretch for the back of the leg. We've got both sit bones still on the floor, shoulders down, chin tucked. Let's keep a nice posture in the upper back. And hug the knee into the chest. We'll take a twist. Let's do it sitting up. Let's see you again. Extend your left leg out in front of you. Right foot on the outside of the knee. Sit up tall, and first of all, just hug the knee into the chest. Can we imprint both sit bones onto the floor? And then Ardha Matsyendrasana. half Lord of the Fish in a twist. So let's start to turn your right shoulder over to the right. So we're starting to get that twist without forcing. Keep the straight leg strong, toes up to the ceiling, foot flexed. And we can hug the knee into the chest. Each out breath, we might swivel around a little bit further, but see if you can keep that central axis of the spine. So keeping long, right up through the crown of the head. Working towards this right foot staying flat to the floor. Breathing deeply in and out of the nose. Deeper stretch, the arm comes on the outside of the knee and hooks round. But take a position where you can keep nicely open across the chest. Both sit bones on the floor, attempting to lift this hip, anchor down, hug thigh to chest, and then let's switch sides. Extend your right leg, left foot on the outside of the knee, sit up tall, move the kind of belly out of the way, around to the side to help you get into that twist. Hook the elbow. So your straight leg active, toes up to the ceiling, press the heel, the back of the knee into the floor. Both sit bones onto the floor and start to swivel. So if there's a rod along the spine, it will come out through the crown of the head in a perfect vertical line. And we're just swiveling around on that axis. And breathing deeply in and out of the nose. Last little bit of active stretch twist. Swiveling, active legs, squeeze the glutes, hug the thigh and the chest together. Foot flat to the floor if you can. Back fingertips on the floor just for stability. And slowly come out. Legs out in front of you. Always good to return to a kind of symmetrical position after we've been asymmetrical. And just shake out knees, ankles, hips, and roll across your bottom cheeks. Just finally opening the chest, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulders back and down, and ease out the neck with gentle shoulder rolls. So I hope you all have a good couple of days. Just to confirm, still here, Good Friday, Easter Monday, every weekday. So join just whenever you can.